Welcome back, everyone, with a brand new summary. This film tells the true story of a mother fighting to overcome drug addiction for the sake of her daughter, but suddenly, she's kidnapped. Will she survive? Let's find out. The movie starts with a beautiful young woman named Ashley. She's a drug addict attending a recovery meeting. During the session, Ashley opens up to the group, saying that her life was ruined because of addiction. She explains that she has a little daughter named Becky, but she can't live with her because of her addiction. Her daughter is currently living with her aunt, Camelia, and Ashley only visits them from time to time. The reason she's not living with her daughter is that she's not fit to raise a child. That fact made her hate herself deeply, and she decided to change. Now, she's trying to improve her life and recover from addiction. After the meeting ends, Ashley is followed by the group leader, who asks her when was the last time she used drugs. Ashley tells her it's been a month, but the leader looks skeptical. So, Ashley admits it's actually been 2 days. Still, she promises that she'll get clean and that this will be the last time. The group leader supports her, saying she knows how hard recovery is and that she'll stand by her side through the journey. She gives Ashley a book called The Purpose of Life to help her with recovery and to change how she sees things. Ashley takes the book and thanks her, but as soon as she walks away, she throws the book in the trash. The group leader hears the sound and realizes Ashley threw it away. At the same time, a very dangerous criminal named Brian is being transported to court. He's on trial for a rape case, and it's highly expected that the judge will sentence him to 15 years or even life in prison. A female guard escorts him to a room to change clothes before the hearing, but as soon as she removes his handcuffs, Brian attacks her, steals her radio, changes his clothes, gets a gun from the weapons storage, and heads to the courtroom. There, he shoots and kills both the judge and the prosecutor, then escapes. Chaos erupts as people start panicking from the gunshots. Brian escapes through the back staircase of the building. A guard spots him, but Brian shoots and kills him too. Then he runs to the garage, gets into a car, and flees the scene. Meanwhile, Ashley arrives at work and sees the tragic news on TV about the courthouse shooting and the 3 people who were killed by the criminal, Brian. She also sees his picture, as the police are now searching for him everywhere and urging anyone who sees him to call immediately. Ashley feels scared because he's still on the loose, but she eventually gets back to work. Her manager comes by and hands her something, saying that a woman had left it for her. When Ashley opens it, she finds it's the Purpose of Life book that the group leader gave her earlier. She realizes the leader must have come and left it for her again. At the same time, Detective John arrives at the courthouse to investigate the case. He talks to the detective already on the scene and learns all the shocking details. John is stunned as he listens. Then, the chief of police walks in and tells John the entire city is in an uproar over this criminal, and they need to catch him fast. After that, the chief leaves. John begins his investigation and orders his team to monitor all of Brian's relatives and anyone who might be connected to him, even remotely. Back on the run, Brian hijacks another car at gunpoint and continues his escape. He then goes to his ex-girlfriend's house, who is also the mother of his child. But instead of going inside, he watches them from a distance, feeling sad and helpless. Just then, he hears police sirens, so he runs away quickly. Detective John and Officer Carmen, who's helping him with the case, arrive at Brian's ex's house to question her. She's clearly relieved and grateful for their presence, as she's been scared and on edge ever since she heard about Brian's escape. She's terrified that he might come after her or their son. John reassures her, saying he'll assign 2 officers to protect her until Brian is caught. He then asks her some questions, like what places Brian liked to go to, if he had any close friends, or anything that might help them. She tells them she didn't really know much about him when she first got involved with him, and the moment she found out about the rape case, she took her son and left immediately. She hasn't seen him since his arrest and is genuinely afraid he might hurt her. John thanks her for her time, then enters the house with the officers to look for any clues that might help in the investigation. All the while, Brian is still watching them from a distance, and then disappears again. At that time, Ashley was at work when she saw Camelia arriving with her daughter Becky to visit her for a little while. Ashley smiled happily at her daughter. Camelia gave Ashley some money, knowing how tough her situation was. Becky talked to her mom and told her she had an important school performance the next day and wanted her to come watch. Ashley reassured her she'd take the day off and come see her, which made Becky really happy. Meanwhile, Brian found out through the radio he stole from the guard that the police now knew the description of the car he was driving and were searching for it. Because of that, he decided to steal another car. Night came. Ashley had finished work and was back home. While sitting alone, she pulled out her stash of drugs, feeling torn between using or staying clean because she knew she needed to quit for her daughter's sake. She took the drugs intending to throw them away but eventually gave in, used a dose, and found herself back at square one. She sat there very sad and full of regret. Her thoughts were interrupted by a phone call from Camelia, who told her Becky wanted to talk to her. Becky said she wanted to visit Ashley. They agreed she'd visit the next day after the school performance, and Becky reminded her not to forget the date. Ashley promised she wouldn't miss the chance to get closer to her daughter. At the same time, Detective John got a call from Brian's mother. He quickly answered and she told him that 2 days ago she had warned the court that Brian was planning to escape, but they hadn't taken her seriously. John was surprised she was reporting on her own son and helping the police. She said she knew her son had hurt many innocent people and needed to be punished, and she'd keep in touch if he contacted her. Meanwhile, Ashley went to get something from her car and noticed a strange vehicle moving around the neighborhood but didn't pay much attention. Of course, Brian was the one driving that car, looking for a place to stay the night. On her way back home, Ashley was suddenly attacked by Brian. She tried to run and screamed, but he overpowered her and threatened to kill her if she screamed again. He asked who lived with her, and she said no one but her daughter lived elsewhere. He took her and walked around the apartment to check if she was telling the truth. He saw the kid's room was set up and thought the child lived there. She told him she had prepared the room because her daughter would visit the next day, but he didn't believe her and hit her. Then he tied her hands in the bathroom and left her there while he looked for something to drink in the fridge. At the same time, Detective John was talking to the psychiatrist responsible for Brian's case. The doctor said Brian had delusions of grandeur and was 100% convinced he didn't rape anyone. The doctor tried to convince him he was guilty, but Brian didn't believe anyone except himself. Meanwhile, Brian took Ashley and blindfolded her so he could take a shower. Ashley tried to talk to him and asked if he had children. He said he had a newborn but didn't know anything about him. He told her he didn't rape anyone and was completely innocent because the girl he was accused of raping loved him and he would never hurt her. After finishing the shower, Ashley offered him to wear her husband's clothes. Brian was surprised because her husband wasn't home. She told him her husband worked night shifts and would come late, and she wanted to warn him before her husband arrived. He accused her of lying and said he'd wait for her husband. He dressed in the clothes she mentioned and sat watching TV, leaving Ashley tied up in the bathroom. At that moment, Detective Carmen told John she found the guard's radio missing and was sure Brian took it. John contacted Brian through the radio trying to locate him. Brian got nervous and looked out the windows. He was sure the police still hadn't found his location. He kept listening to John but didn't respond because he knew responding would allow the police to pinpoint his exact spot. John kept provoking him until Brian lost his temper and replied. When Brian responded, the police could identify the area he was in but not the exact location. John kept talking to him, trying to convince him to surrender so he could see his son. He told Brian that if he didn't surrender, his situation would get worse and he might never see his son. Brian broke the radio and started crying, unsure what to do next. John ordered all officers and soldiers to head to that area and start searching for Brian quickly. Brian was upset and anxious, asking Ashley to get him drugs. She agreed and prepared them for him. Brian was a little nervous at first, as it was probably his first time using. After a few minutes, he started acting strangely because of the drugs. He came out of the bathroom leaving Ashley alone with his weapons. She tried to take his gun, but he called her back and kept saying strange things. Ashley told him she needed to use the bathroom and tried to close the door, but he came in first, took his weapons, and told her to recite the alphabet out loud while the door was closed to make sure nothing bad was happening inside. He sat in front of the bathroom door while Ashley tried to open the window, but it was too small for her to get out. Suddenly, Brian felt something was wrong because Ashley was taking too long to respond. But it turned out she had just closed the window, and everything was fine. Brian started feeling dizzy from the drugs he took and suspected Ashley had laced them with something. He tried to make her take some too, but when she refused, he didn't push her. He just left the room. When Ashley followed him, she found him lying on the floor but still conscious. She didn't know what to do at that moment, so she picked up the Purpose-Driven Life book and said, "Let's see what happens." When Brian saw her, he asked her to read from the book out loud so he could listen. Ashley began reading aloud, but after a while, Brian got bored and told her to stop. He then went to sit in front of the TV and saw on the news that the police had identified the car he was driving. He panicked and told Ashley they had to get rid of that car quickly. He told her to come with him. Ashley said she'd change her clothes first and went to grab her phone. Then she went down with him, and Brian made her drive her own car while he followed in the stolen one, so after he ditched the stolen car, he could ride back with her. Ashley drove off first with Brian behind her. As she was driving, she tried calling someone, but her phone wasn't working. She kept driving until her car broke down. She got out to try and fix it herself. A man saw her struggling and got out to help. But the moment he saw Brian in the car behind hers, he got suspicious. Brian pulled out his gun to take the man out, but Ashley managed to fix her car in time and stood next to Brian so he wouldn't shoot. She convinced the man to walk away. Brian got back into his car, and Ashley got into hers. They drove off again, and Brian eventually parked the stolen car in a remote spot. Then he got in Ashley's car, and they headed back home. On the way, Brian said, "Your husband must be done with work and probably already at home." That's when Ashley revealed that her husband was dead and that she had only lied to him. There was no one else in the house. The next day, Carmen went to John and told him they found the stolen car but still hadn't located Brian. John got furious and started throwing things, feeling like their last chance to catch Brian had slipped away. Meanwhile, Ashley was making breakfast for her and Brian. They sat down to eat together, and Brian handed her the book again, telling her to continue reading. Ashley kept reading, and Brian listened quietly. The book talked about hope and love in life, and both of them were deeply affected by its words. Brian then told her that he did all of this because 2 days ago, in court, he found out he had a newborn son. He knew the judge would sentence him harshly for a crime he claimed he didn't commit, so he acted the way he did just to get the chance to see his son. He began crying and truly seemed regretful. Later, Brian was watching the news while Ashley glanced at the time and realized she was late for her daughter's school performance. She told Brian she had to go, but he didn't respond. She packed some food into her bag and said she was leaving. As she headed for the door, Brian called her name. He handed her the phone battery he had taken from her earlier without her knowing, and then let her leave. Ashley walked out, still shocked by what had just happened. She got into her car, put the battery in her phone, turned it on, and drove off. While on the road, she called 911 and told them the criminal Brian was in her apartment. The police traced her call and told her to stay where she was. They also dispatched a team to her apartment. Ashley pulled over and started crying, waiting for the police to arrive. At the same time, Brian heard the sound of police cars closing in on the area. He grabbed his gun, preparing for a standoff. Detective John arrived after the police had already surrounded the building. He started questioning Ashley about what happened, and when he learned there was a phone in the apartment, he called it. Brian answered but hung up as soon as he heard John's voice. He stepped away from the windows after spotting snipers outside. Brian then tried calling his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his child, but she didn't answer. So he left a message for his newborn son, saying not to believe anything he hears about him when he grows up and that he loved him very much. Brian remained seated as John asked Ashley to try talking to him through the loudspeaker to convince him to surrender. Ashley repeated a line from the book, telling him, "It's not too late to do the right thing. No matter how many mistakes you've made, there's still time to make the right choice and turn back. The right thing now is to surrender and see your son." But Brian was still stubborn and didn't come out. John gave him 30 seconds to surrender before the team would storm the place. Just before the time ran out, Brian came out and peacefully surrendered without a fight. John went over and thanked Ashley for her help and cooperation. Afterward, Ashley reunited with her daughter, who had come with others to check on her after seeing the news. Then we see real photos of the people behind the story. We learn that from that day on, Ashley quit drugs for good, eventually got married, and lived a happy life with her husband, daughter, and the children she had with her new husband. As for Brian, he was sentenced to life in prison, and his sons started visiting him there. And that's how the movie ends. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed it, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll reply to them all, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel.